These brown patches disappeared last season, yet they have returned in almost exactly the same places. Their repeated location is an important clue, because healthy grass rarely fails randomly without a cause.
When damage follows an old footprint, something beneath or around that footprint probably remains unchanged.
The real reason may involve water, roots, soil, insects, disease, animals, or maintenance stress. Treating every brown circle as fungus can waste money while the actual trigger continues underneath.
Sometimes the recurring culprit is simply a sprinkler shadow that leaves one root zone consistently dry. Elsewhere, prolonged leaf moisture and susceptible grass can support genuine fungal disease during favorable weather. In another lawn, root-feeding grubs can create nearly identical browning while requiring completely different decisions.
Small circles with dark green halos may instead record where a dog repeatedly chooses to urinate.
Straight lines, overlaps, and sharp edges often point toward equipment, fertilizer, or chemical application errors. A mower can repeatedly scalp the same raised ground, weakening crowns whenever the lawn is cut. Color begins the investigation, but leaves, crowns, roots, soil, and pattern provide the useful evidence.
Today we will diagnose first, correct the persistent condition, and repair only after understanding it.
That approach is slower than guessing, but it offers the lawn a realistic path toward recovery.
The first common failure is watering the symptom without checking where irrigation actually reaches.
Frequent light sprinkling can wet leaves while leaving deeper roots poorly supplied and vulnerable.
Routine evening watering may extend leaf wetness, especially where humid nights already dry grass slowly.
Morning irrigation generally gives roots water while allowing foliage to dry during the daylight period. A fungicide cannot correct dry soil, buried debris, animal urine, compaction, or mower scalping. Even successful disease management protects developing tissue. It does not repaint already dead leaves green. Extra nitrogen may produce soft growth and can intensify certain diseases during favorable conditions.
Cutting lower to hide discoloration removes photosynthetic tissue and exposes already stressed crowns to heat.
A dull blade leaves ragged wounds that lose moisture and make the lawn appear browner. Baking soda, detergent, salt, and vinegar are not dependable lawn diagnostics and may cause injury.
For urine spots, plain water is safer than lawn chemicals or unapproved additives in pet food.
Random seed mixtures can repair color temporarily while creating permanently mismatched texture and seasonal behavior.
Replacing turf without correcting the soil or irrigation often recreates the original patch beneath new sod. Longer runtime is not automatically better when compacted soil accepts water more slowly than sprinklers apply it.
Soil testing is valuable, but pH or nutrients alone seldom explain neat, recurring circles.
Begin with the whole pattern, because shape and position can eliminate several incorrect explanations.
Mark every patch before treatment so expansion, movement, and repeated locations remain objectively visible. Record dates, rainfall, irrigation changes, heat, humidity, mowing, and every product recently applied.
Measure the boundary now, then compare it several days later instead of trusting memory. Marks matching sprinkler reach strongly suggest distribution trouble rather than a naturally circular fungal colony. Straight bands invite questions about spreader overlaps, wheel injury, drainage trenches, or repeated mower routes.
Brown centers surrounded by greener growth are characteristic clues for concentrated urine or fertilizer deposits. Expanding irregular patches during warm, humid weather increase suspicion of disease, but still require close inspection. Damage confined to sunny slopes often reflects heat, shallow soil, or water running away downhill. Patches beneath trees may involve shade, root competition, compacted soil, and slower leaf drying together.
Areas that remain wet suggest poor drainage, oxygen-starved roots, or diseases favored by moisture.
Turf beside pavement receives reflected heat and may dry faster than grass farther inside.
Ask whether the patch returns after similar weather, irrigation schedules, or annual maintenance operations.
Dormant leaves may look dead, while living crowns remain capable of growth when favorable conditions return. Dead crowns are dry and detached, so genuine stand loss eventually requires compatible replacement grass.
A catch can test reveals whether each area receives comparable water during one normal irrigation cycle.
Perform the test during calm weather, because wind can distort both sprinkler coverage and measurements.
Unequal depths confirm distribution problems, even when the controller reports an identical runtime everywhere.
Pumpkin heads frequently create dry shadows because nearby foliage blocks the intended spray trajectory. A tilted head shifts coverage away from roots and can waste substantial water onto hard surfaces.
Clogged nozzles reduce flow or distort patterns, leaving recurring dry areas despite regular watering.
Mismatched sprinkler types may apply water at different rates, making uniform scheduling nearly impossible. Growing shrubs and new landscape features can quietly interrupt coverage that worked correctly years earlier.
If water runs off before soaking inward, adding uninterrupted runtime increases waste rather than root moisture. Dividing irrigation into shorter cycles can help slowly infiltrating soil accept the required water.
A soil probe after irrigation shows whether moisture actually penetrated below the visible leaf canopy. Compare affected and healthy zones at equal depths, because surface color can misrepresent root zone moisture.
Folded leaves, a bluish cast, and persistent footprints commonly appear before drought browning becomes severe. Grass that remains flattened after walking has lost turgor and needs its root moisture assessed.
Repair coverage first, then schedule irrigation according to weather, soil, grass, and local restrictions.
Next, inspect below ground at the boundary where declining and apparently healthy turf meet. This small profile exposes several hidden causes that cannot be identified from an overhead photograph. Thatch is the organic layer between shoots and soil, not ordinary loose grass clippings.
When thatch becomes excessive, roots, water movement, and pest conditions may all become less favorable. Compacted soil restricts air, infiltration, and rooting, especially along paths, gates, and repeated wheel routes.
Shallow roots make turf dependent on frequent surface moisture and less resilient during heat. Firm crowns suggest plants may recover, even when much of the visible foliage has browned.
Soft, dark crowns or rotted roots indicate deeper damage that deserves careful professional diagnosis.
Soil texture influences drainage and storage, so sandy and clay sites need different irrigation timing.
Water that beads or moves sideways may explain why repeated watering misses a stubborn root zone.
Construction debris can reduce usable soil depth and create a permanent, hot, drought-prone pocket.
Downspouts and low grading can repeatedly saturate roots, reducing oxygen and encouraging decline.
For laboratory soil testing, combine representative cores according to the laboratory's sampling instructions.
Sample distinctly different areas separately, or their contrasting conditions may disappear inside one average result.
Replace inspection plugs promptly, press them firmly, and keep the small disturbed area from drying.
True brown patch disease often produces irregular tan lesions with darker borders on individual leaves. On susceptible cool season grasses, affected areas may expand from inches into much larger patches.
Temporary white mycelium around an active margin can strengthen suspicion when observed early in the morning.
Inspect several blades, because one damaged leaf cannot establish the diagnosis for an entire lawn.
Brown patch becomes more likely when susceptible turf experiences warm, humid conditions and prolonged leaf wetness.
Late watering can extend wetness into the night, creating more favorable infection conditions.
Moving necessary irrigation toward morning helps foliage dry sooner without withholding water from roots. Avoid pushing lush nitrogen growth while confirmed brown patch is active and weather remains favorable.
Correct mowing height and sharp blades reduce additional stress while preserving useful photosynthetic leaf tissue. Avoid mowing wet diseased turf, which can spread contaminated clippings and produce poor cuts. Remove accumulated debris safely according to mower instructions before moving equipment between properties. Grass identification matters because susceptibility, recovery, and disease timing differ among turf species.
Warm season turf may develop large patch during cooler wet periods, requiring a different seasonal interpretation. For uncertain disease, collect a fresh boundary sample instead of sending completely dead material.
A turf diagnostic laboratory can distinguish look-alike diseases before expensive chemical treatment begins.
Turf that lifts unusually easily may have lost roots to grubs or another underground problem.
Confirm suspected grubs by inspecting soil beneath several patch edges, not only one convenient location.
White grubs are cream-colored, C-shaped beetle larvae that feed within the turf root zone.
Count and identify larvae, because treatment thresholds and timing vary with species, turf condition, and region.
Finding one soil organism does not prove it caused widespread damage or justify insecticide application. Birds, skunks, or raccoons digging repeatedly can provide an additional clue that larvae are present. Firmly anchored turf without larvae redirects the investigation toward moisture, disease, or crown injury.
Chinch bugs can damage sunny, dry turf, but their presence should be confirmed before treatment.
Inspect the advancing margin, where feeding insects are more likely than inside completely dead grass.
Local extension specialists can help identify insects and explain appropriate regional action thresholds.
Broad preventive insecticide use can expose pollinators without solving damage caused by something else.
If control is justified, follow the registered label, timing, irrigation, and pollinator precautions exactly.
Grub control effectiveness changes with larval age, so a treatment applied too late may perform poorly.
After inspection, replace turf carefully and maintain appropriate moisture while damaged roots recover.
Integrated pest management protects turf by combining evidence, prevention, and the least disruptive suitable response.
A brown center with a dark green halo is a classic, though not exclusive, urine clue. Observation confirms whether repeated pet behavior matches the locations and timing of new spots. Prompt plain water rinsing can dilute a fresh deposit, although established dead tissue will not revive.
Training a pet to use a non-turf area offers the most dependable long-term prevention.
Never alter a pet's diet for lawn appearance without advice from a qualified veterinarian.
Rectangular or striped injury often mirrors the path of a fertilizer or pesticide applicator. Fresh spills should be collected safely according to label directions before concentrated material reaches turf.
Calibration, measured area, and proper overlap prevent concentrated bands during future fertilizer applications.
Chemical drift usually follows wind or application boundaries rather than natural disease growth patterns.
Repeated scalping on high ground removes green tissue and exposes crowns during every mowing.
Set mowing height for the grass species, season, and current stress, rather than personal preference.
Sharpened blades create cleaner cuts, conserve moisture, and reduce the gray-brown cast from shredding.
Traffic damage follows repeated routes and becomes worse when saturated or heat-stressed soil is compressed.
Redirect traffic temporarily while roots recover, especially during drought, heat, or saturated conditions. Matted leaves can block light, trap moisture, and recreate decline in the same sheltered locations.
A local extension guide or turf specialist can confirm grass identity when visual clues remain uncertain.
Match symptom timing with weather, because different diseases, insects, and stresses dominate different seasons. Cool, wet spring conditions may favor a large patch on susceptible warm season grasses, such as zoysia.
Account for useful rainfall instead of watering automatically after the root zone already received moisture.
Adjust irrigation with weather and plant demand, rather than repeating one setting throughout the year.
After correcting water, allow living crowns time to respond before deciding that complete replacement is necessary. Smaller cool season turf generally shades soil and retains more leaf area during summer stress.
Sharpen blades safely according to the manufacturer's procedure, or use a qualified service technician.
Short clippings normally decompose beneficially, but heavy, wet clumps should be dispersed or removed. Recovery appears through new growth, while old, damaged blades remain tan until mowing removes them.
Severe, spreading, or repeatedly uncertain disease should be identified before selecting a fungicide.
Use only a registered product listing in the turf site and follow every label direction.
And wear required protective equipment and observe all mixing, application, storage, and disposal instructions.
Prevent drift and runoff by respecting label weather limits, buffers, and application restrictions. Keep people and animals away for the complete period specified on the product label. Repeated fungicide use may require mode of action rotation to reduce resistance, exactly as guidance permits. Chemistry supplements correct management in selected cases. It never replaces healthy growing conditions.
Repair only after determining which crowns remain alive and which sections have permanently lost turf.
Preserve living crowns, because established plants can recover faster than newly germinated seedlings.
Where crowns are dead, remove loose material enough to expose soil for successful seed contact. Loosen the surface gently without damaging utilities or aggressively tilling roots of surrounding grass.
Use amendments only when site evidence supports them. Automatically adding sand or lime can create problems.
Choose compatible seed by species and cultivar recommendations, instead of selecting the cheapest anonymous mixture.
Measure the repair area and follow the seed label's establishment rate rather than guessing.
Distribute seed evenly, so excessive competition and conspicuous bare gaps are both avoided.
Lightly rake and firm the area so seed contacts soil while remaining near the surface.
A suitable light mulch can reduce drying, but thick coverage may obstruct emerging seedlings. Keep the seedbed consistently moist during germination without creating runoff, puddles, or saturated soil. As seedlings establish, transition gradually toward deeper watering appropriate for developing roots.
Warm warm season lawns may be patched with matching sod during active growth when conditions permit rooting.